Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to episode 4 of the League 2 Hour in a week where Crawley, Cheltenham and Shrewsbury blanked, where Fleetwood stuttered and Oldham drew some more football matches, where Bristol Rovers and Notts County improved, Bromley MK Dons and Grimsby kept ticking over, and Barnet and Gills went 6 from 6 across 2 games. We have a bumper edition this Bank Holiday Monday to get through, and I say we because at last he's fully fit. Lee is back making his debut. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, it feels weird to be making some sort of content. It's been a while, but yeah, I'm ready with my new reading glasses, ready to go. Mate, you've smashed it 3 weeks without me. To be fair, I've probably just you're just going to carry me through this one. Like I say, you've absolutely smashed it, mate. It's great to be finally on the new show.
And obviously, first comment tonight has to be apt. It's Little Finley, the wheelchair king, and he says hi. Hi, Finn. Hope you're doing well, mate. Great to have Finley in the chat. So, yeah, decent one for you to come back to. 23 games to get through, 50-plus goals, plenty of talking points. So there is a slight change tonight, people, to what we're doing. We're going to do 2 games in feature from last Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we'll run through goals and goal scorers from the other games. We'll then pick top 3 goals and a player of the round. That was done by yours truly because I wasn't sure what Lee was doing this week. And then for Saturday's game, same format. Lee has picked 2 feature games that we're going to go through in more detail. We'll then do the classifieds of the rest. And then Lee has done top 3 and he's working on his player of the round. But yeah, get them comments in. Come and say hello. And if this format works, I think it's probably something that we'll move forward with because then we can try and cover different teams in detail each week. We've got a couple of comments coming in. Liam Welby, Gills fan, says, hello, Matt and Lee. How are you? I'm very well, mate. 3 more points at the weekend.
You must be buzzing, mate.
I'm all right at the moment, but yeah, I'm still very cautious that we might get to like October, November like last year and forget how to win football matches. And another good friend of the channel, Evening Legends, up the Gills, Weeks' football finds. As I said last week, you like lower league content and you like football shirts. This fella's your man. Go and find him on social media. Right, let's get back to last Tuesday then, Lee. First game in feature was Fleetwood Town 1, Crew Alexandra 4. 2 sides unbeaten at kickoff, but it's fair to say that it was the Alex that absolutely dismantled the Cod Army. This was done after 55 minutes. It was 4-0.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't see it coming, so I even picked my bets out, and I don't know why. I fancied Fleetwood at home. They've had a fairly decent start, but it's a result, obviously. One of them, I felt it could have gone either way. Obviously, scoreline I did not see coming at all. Obviously, Crew have had a fantastic start as well, but yeah, it did my act to put it like
had a fantastic start.
yes. There's been that much football, you forget who's played who.
We won twice this way. That's all I care about.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great result for Crew, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good. And unfortunately, Toby Malarkey in this one put through his own net inside a minute, which gave Alex a head start. And it was 2-0 around 20 minutes. Owen Lunt through ball and carved them open. Yeah, and it was Josh March who coolly chipped the keeper. Sorry, yeah, just looking at my notes there. So yeah, 2-0 really quickly. And then, like I say, 2 goals straight after half time as well, mate. This one was done as a contest. It was Lunt teeing up Callum Agius. He scored a really good goal. And then Reece Hutchinson, summer arrival from the League of Ireland, he pitched in with his 2nd of the season. And Denver Hume was fouled in injury time, which allowed James Norwood to score from the spot. By that point, though, it was no more than a consolation, was it?
Yeah, just a consolation goal, obviously. Norwood, is that his first goal for Fleetwood? I believe so.
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure he's even started the game. He might have started on Saturday, but...
Yeah, obviously, old club, you're always going to get them players. But yeah, fantastic result for Crew. And like I say, it did my hacker, that's for sure. 'Cause I was sitting on the fence. I thought just fancied Fleetwood being at home. But yeah, Crew had been absolutely buzzing with that result.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got, looks like we've got a Latix fan in the chat. So Oldham first win coming this week. We'll see. See you up there, Dom. Of course, Lee knows every Oldham Athletic fan, doesn't he? North of the M25. I forget about this, so I might be outnumbered at some point in the next week or so. But nice to have you in the chat, Dom. Welcome to the channel, mate. Like we always say, if you can hit that like button, that'd be absolutely brilliant. If you want to press subscribe on my channel as well, it's greatly appreciated. And obviously, go and find Lee's the best groundhopper, bar absolutely nobody. Second game in feature was my own team, and it was another 4-1 win. And again, I think it's fair to say, mate, that it was another result I don't think we saw coming. I mean, I fancied Gills to potentially nick it by the odd goal, but I certainly didn't see a 4-1 slapping coming, given our lack of goals in recent years and the fact that Chesterfield were absolutely perfect at kickoff. How did you see that one panning out before the game started?
I have to admit, mate, I think at best I probably saw you getting a draw, which wouldn't have been a bad result. Obviously, Chesterfield has started well. But to put them to the sword and smash them 4-1, it's some statement, really, for me. Did the game reflect that score?
I think it did by the second half. Chesterfield keep the ball. We know what they're going to be like. They're a good side. They pass it. They keep it well. They've got good technically players, haven't they? They've got, Amanda Dobra. They've got Dylan Markande. Is it Duffy they've got as well, who can play from sides or can play as a 10. Still got Will Griggs' experience. They've got that lad Lee Bonnis that they brought in. So in forward areas, they're going to be a threat and they're going to cause teams problems moving forward. But yeah, from the penalty, which with the benefit of a replay afterwards, wasn't a penalty. So they can feel slightly aggrieved at that. But from that point onwards, Gills were absolutely superb. And I don't think by full time that the scoreline flattered Chesterfield. Marnie Little, 2 from the spot. And then what was great to see was when Dobra pulled one back on 50 minutes, we could have caved, or we could have sort of got into our shell. We didn't. Straight up the other end. I mean, there's not many goalkeepers that get assists at League 2 level, but that's just another thing that Glenn Morris does. Absolute legend, 41 years of age and still one of the best keepers at the level. And yeah, it was debutant Lenny Sereno. One touch off his head. He's about a foot shorter than Carl McFadden, and then just holds him off, chests it down, and absolutely larrups it into the roof of the net in the front of the. I didn't even get the camera out on the vlog, unfortunately. It was that quick that I missed it. And then, yeah, the icing on the cake was Marcus Wiley's first league goal for us, having arrived last summer from Enfield Town, that put the gloss on it. But I thought we were really good. So, yeah, statement performance, like you say, statement win as well. But I will temper that because we've been great in August and September for the last 2 years. It's just the middle bit up to March that we seem to have struggled with. So not getting carried away just yet. Right, we've got a couple more comments. Dom is back again and he says, Lee caught me sobbing like a baby at Wembley. I'm assuming that is reference to a certain playoff final. Kyle Shorter says, hello. And then Lee, a name familiar to yourself and very familiar to me. A certain Ava says, welcome back, Lee, up the Gills.
Ava, the legend. What a legend.
Yeah, she's just wants to check in and see. I think I have told her that you are likely making an appearance at Boundary Park this week. So you're a lucky charm for. But yeah, Ava, of course, for anyone who doesn't know, is my daughter and my little football buddy who comes with me to every single football match that I attend. Right, that was the games in feature then, mate. And then obviously there was a full round of fixtures as well, apart from, I think it was Tranmere versus Accrington, because that was postponed because they had to play a rearranged League Cup game because they didn't pay the electric bill the week before.
Yeah,
which was one of the weirder postponements I've heard of.
Yeah, very weird. Yeah, especially this time of year as well.
Although there was a weirder one today. I noticed there was a non-league club called Wembley FC, and I will, if anybody's seen it in the chat, put your comments in and see if you can guess it. I'll give people 3 guesses. I'll give Lee 3 guesses. Why was the game postponed shortly before kickoff, Lee?
You know what? I've actually seen the thing, but I didn't read it. So I'm going to go for something a little bit left field. Cows on the pitch or something.
It was something on the pitch, and it was animal related, but it wasn't a physical animal.
Was it really?
Minutes, and I'll come back to that one in a couple of minutes. Good evening, chaps, from a Walsall fan. Elliot Bagnall's in the chat. Welcome, Elliot. Good to see you, mate. We'll get to your games shortly, of course. Right, so we run through them then, Lee, in the week on Tuesday, and there was one Wednesday game. It was Newport County 0, Salford City 1. Adebola Aluwu scored the winner in that one. I think that one's fairly straightforward in terms of it went to what we would have thought at the time.
Yeah, Salford, again, good start from them. One of them teams, I think, looking, obviously I didn't get to do my predictions, but you're looking across the board with obviously people that's predicted. I think Salford, one of them, they didn't really, you don't really know where to put them type thing. I've seen some put them quite high and some put them struggling, but I think they've recruited really well. And I've got a manager that's knows his stuff, and I think they'll go well, to be fair.
Yeah, I put them 11th, but that was on the premise that I thought they were selling Kelly and Mayan and Haji Minoga,
Yeah.
subject to bids, I think, from Bolton and Lincoln. But that was 6-7 weeks ago. So now I think I might have them a little bit low, although they have been a little bit up and down so far. But yeah, I think once they find some consistency and the new players all settle in, because we are only 5 games in, there's no point getting excited. It's not season defining yet. Obviously, it's positive if you started well and a bit worrying if you haven't. But I think they'll be fine. It was 1-0 in the week. Bristol Rovers 0, Oldham Athletic 0. Oldham something of draw specialists at the moment. But yeah, I think that got Bristol Rovers up and running in terms of points. And like I say, the Latics have been solid and steady, if not anywhere near spectacular just yet. What do you make of Oldham so far, mate? Because obviously you covered them a lot in the National League last season.
Yeah, and I've been looking at obviously social media. Oldham fans are getting a little bit, I think, on the back of Mellon's tactics. Obviously, yeah, it's frustrating, but I think they just have to level the sends out and just look at the teams that they've played. Obviously, promoted last year when probably they didn't really look like getting promoted. And I think how Mellon looks at a season, I think he looks at it game by game and says, yeah, Bristol Rovers, if we pick a point up there, it's great. And I think he looks long term rather than game by game. He's proven at this level. I think Oldham fans just need to just trust the process and just look what happened last year. I think they'll be fine. Obviously, still a fair few injured to come back in, and I think they'll be fine. I think mid-table, I think will be a great first season back in League Two. Personally,
I had them 9th, and I got chastised for that, not by them, but more by Barnet fans, because I had them higher than Barnet. I had Barnet 14th, but at the time I said it was because I thought just the styles of football. I thought Oldham are more suited to League Two. They're robust, they're solid, they're compact out of possession. They play a 4-4-2. So if you've got 2 banks of 4 and then you've got a goal scorer like Michael Fondop was last season, I know he's not managed to find the net yet, then they're going to be absolutely fine. Barnet, I think, are a team that, and we'll get to them because they are starting to pick up. Just in the early stages of the season, they play this high risk, high reward pressing game. And I just think that if that gets caught out, then you see the results that we saw in the first 3 games. Chances are they might be getting it together now, looking at their last 2 results. But God, I got absolute pelters from Barnet fans for saying 14th. Like, oh, well, no National League champions finished lower than 8th. But stats are there to be broken, aren't they? And I'll get you have to read into them. And I love a stat, everyone knows that. But I just think Oldham look more of a League Two side in essence, that's the style of football you generally see in the 4th tier.
Yeah, and I've just touched on Mellon. He's proven in this league. He'll set a side up to obviously not get beat. I think all they are missing. I've watched a few games and clips. Obviously, I like to cover a lot of League Two, and I think they are missing that goal scorer. Obviously, I think Quigley's the only one that's scored. Obviously, Fondop is getting a bit frustrated. I think his goals will come, but for me, Fondop, I think he'd be better coming off the bench. I think if they get someone that gets in behind with Quigley and knows the net, I think Oldham will put teams, obviously not to the sore, but they'll start picking 3 points up because they are creating a lot of chances.
Well, see, and they've only lost 1, isn't it? So it's not a disastrous start.
Yeah,
you suddenly
exactly,
win one of them draws, and it's it's a really good start, and you're sort of halfway up the table. But the caveat is the longer that win takes to come, the more frustrating it gets, and then it becomes a bit of an issue, doesn't it?
That's
like
it.
Dom's, sorry, mate, just jump in there. Dom, the Oldham fans, jump back in to see. He says we're really lacking something in the final third when Pett and Payne are back. Midfield will be really good. Need a proven goal scorer in this league, but wouldn't mind Harrott being given a chance. Is that Harrott? Or
Harrott, yeah. So he scored the winner at Wembley. Yeah, agree with Pett. I think they miss his energy in the middle. Obviously, they've got two in there quite similar. They're not. Obviously, you got Woods, Conlon, obviously great ball players, but energy-wise, I think the two similar. Maybe if you compensate someone and get someone in there with the energy, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I think Oldham fans just need to just calm down a little bit because it's still early on and it's a tough start what they've faced, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, marathon, not a sprint. And in the same way, I'm not sitting here thinking we're going to win the league because we've won 3 and drawn 2. They're not getting relegated just because they've not won a game in the first month. Obviously, I hope that the win list extends to another Saturday this coming weekend.
Yeah, Gills a perfect example last year. Obviously, flying start of the season, and then it just went to a wall. I think if you're in there Christmas time, I think you can start getting a little bit giddy, can't you?
Absolutely, that's it. Yeah, and you're halfway through, aren't you? The table never takes shape until 15, 20 games, does it? And we're a long way off that. Right, we've got a couple more comments, mate, before we get to the next game. Gillingham FC 1893 is back again. Welcome, buddy. Hello, 6 points, two top results. Absolutely, totally agree with that. Been really good in the last week, even if you include the last minute equaliser at Tranmere, which preserved that unbeaten run. Gary Myerscough, do you think fans of promoted teams, not specifically Barnet and Oldham, are looking at teams like Stockport and Wrexham, who went through the leagues quickly and are getting ahead of themselves? What do you think, mate? Is there a case for that we've seen these two teams? But you have to realise that they're like powerhouses financially. Stockport are financially well backed. Wrexham are just, they're borderline being a Premier League club already without being in the Premier League, aren't they?
Yeah, I think obviously they're obviously back. So Stockport have done it obviously a different way. Yeah, they've done it well with at the owner. I think he's done it the right way, as how any football club should be run. He's a fine example at Wrexham. I think you can't even compare a team to their financial capabilities. You only have to look at what they're spending this year in Championship. It's ridiculous. So I can see a point, yeah, but sometimes I think just stability in the first season. Obviously, I think the National League to League Two sort of more level these days. Obviously, the years gone by, it were a tall order, but I think teams have proven that they can well win the rights to be in this division and find the capabilities of surviving, and not really many go up and then go straight back down, do they?
No, I know it's been a long time, hasn't it? And I don't think either Oldham or Barnet will be in any real danger. So no dramas for me for both sets of fans. Missy Strevens, I think that's Jamie, who we have to say every week, disclaimer that he comments off of his wife's YouTube account, I think.
I thought this
was like I was enjoying the show. Great win for the Chills again Saturday. Looking at the table, you already think it could go down to the wire. Oh, he puts his name this week, so there's no sort of misconceptions, Jamie, of your Saturday night hobbies. But yeah, welcome back, mate. Yeah, and again, yeah, it might do, but still a long way to go for that. Another happy Gills fan is Matt, GFC 1970, says, and let's hope it's 2 defeats for Oldham come 5 p.m. Absolutely. Ava is back and asks, what's going to be your score prediction for Oldham versus Gills? Ava, I will not disclose that because there will be a match preview later in the week. Shamelessly plugging the channel again.
Yeah.
Matt predicts Oldham 0, Gills 2. And Liam Welby says 2-2 good games for both sides. I think that might be to do with the prediction maybe for Oldham. Next couple of games, Lee, were Cheltenham 1, Bromley 2. Bromley remain unbeaten after goals from Omar Shawumni and Michael Cheek's penalty. Josh Martin scored a really good goal in that one, but unfortunately it was too little too late for the Robins, who have started really poorly. I know we're saying it's early stages, but there are a couple of teams that look potentially like they're going to have a tough, long season. And I think it's fair to say that Cheltenham are in that bracket, aren't they?
Yeah, I would just, obviously, we'll touch on the weekend's fixtures and maybe have a little glance at the league table. I think there's sides already down there. I've already said about people's predictions. I think that the teams in there that you'd expect to be down there already. I think bottom end of the table's certainly taking shape. What you can vision who's going to be struggling this year, but Bromley, fantastic start. Obviously the cup win against Ipswich as well. That man Cheek, he absolutely loves a goal, doesn't he? Obviously, fantastic season last year, and he's already kick-started this season in fantastic fashion.
They've got other strikers scoring as well, which I think could be key for this season. Because last year it felt like Cheek didn't play; they struggled to score goals, and they had a great season. First year back in the EFL, we watched them at Wembley, didn't we? But they've got Nick Kambamba's off the mark. I think Marcus Dinanga's off the mark, who had loads of injury problems last season. And there was talk of Cheek maybe leaving, but I think they're outsiders for the playoffs. Bromley, I really do. I really like their manager, Andy Woodman. I think he sets his teams up. Again, they're a team that just looks like they belong in League Two. They look like a League Two side. They're robust. They're hard to beat. They all know their jobs. They've not got, you know, a player, and I mean this with the utmost respect, if there's any Bromley fans watching, that jumps off the page and you'd go, "Craw, everyone wants to sign him." They've just got everybody that's like a 7 out of 10 every single week.
Yeah, and it's a club. We just touched on Stockport. I think it's a club that have got the stuff together on the pitch, but also off the pitch. You always have to look. They're building a new stand. It's a club that certainly wants to go places, and I'm a big believer. If you get things right off the pitch, it reflects on the pitch. It's massive for any football club. I think if you want to do well, I think you need to get your house in order off the pitch, because it's a club really that's going places for me, and they're always going from strength to strength. And like you said, I think they'll be top half to playoffs easily.
Yeah, I think they'll be a threat. I think they could be a problem for a lot of sides. We play them the week after Oldham. Actually, we got back-to-back away games. I just wish they'd hurry up and build that stand quicker, so we know how many tickets we're getting.
Yeah, they seem to be cracking on with it, to be honest, don't they?
Yeah, we've not heard anything yet. We play them not this Saturday, the Saturday after, but we're still waiting on news in terms of how many we're going to get. So it's touch and go in terms of how many Gills fans can actually attend that game. But if not, people have to make do with Sky Sports. Right, there was more games. Colchester 1, Arthur Reed scored their goal. Cambridge United 2 goals from James Brophy and Mamadou Job won the game for Neil Harris's men, who they've had a solid start. And then one of the surprise results, I think, from that midweek round of games, Lee, was Crawley Town 1, MK Dons 1. Crawley looked a lot better in that game. I think they took the lead through Adi Yamo, but it was a Luke Offord goal in there for MK Dons to maintain their 100% record in what was loosely being labelled the Scott Lindsay derby. We have to touch on MK Dons. I have to ask you, obviously, I've spoke about them in the first 3 episodes, but are they justifiably strong favourites to win the title?
Yeah, you can't not make a case for them. Obviously, they've recruited players for me for League One. We have to look at Patterson that he signed from Sheffield Wednesday. What a signing that is for League Two.
Mendes Lang from Derby as well.
Yeah, they're already chipping in with goals and obviously punishing teams. But that result was a shock one, to be honest. I expected nothing less than a MK Dons win, but yeah, Crawley needed it. Obviously, a big point for them, and yeah, I think if MK Dons don't get top 3, I think it's failure this year. With what they've recruited and spent, I think anything other than top 3 for me is failure.
I think up until the weekend, even Aaron Collins hadn't even played because he's injured, and they spent the best part of 800 grand on him. It's just frightening money at League Two.
I forgot about Aaron Collins. That's ridiculous.
It's nuts.
Yeah,
but Callum Patterson's.
I don't know if MK Dons echo that sentiment where I think anything but top 3 is failure. I know some football fans like to keep level-headed, but they've got to get out of this league, haven't they, this year, surely, with what they've spent.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. I think if they're not in the top 3, I think even playoffs would be classed as a failure. Obviously, if they can get into the playoffs and then win it, then happy days. But I think, they've got to get promoted, I think, for the season to be deemed a success based on the budget that they've been shown to be spending at the moment. Right, I've got a couple more comments. Gary Marskoff again. Oldham away is the sort of game Gills need to get 3 points on if we're going to get promotion, but wouldn't mind a point. Draw your away games, win your home games, Gary, and you're going to be there or thereabouts. And we're doing that to a T at the moment, aren't we? 2 away draws, 1 each, and 3 home wins on the spin. But yeah, it's certainly a game that we can go into with a lot of confidence. Oldham, like we say, have been solid, but haven't won a game. So if we can quieten the crowd down first 15 minutes, then it could make for an interesting afternoon. Liam was at the shoot off. He said, "See you later, legends, up the Gills." And Nicky Boy says, "We've not been composed enough in front of goal. Could have got 3 or 4 on Saturday. Tough game at the weekend, but I think we'll win it." I'm assuming he's an Oldham fan as well, Lee, looking at the colour of the Love Hearts, orange and blue at the end. So welcome to the chat, firstly, Nicky. It'd be an interesting game. You score the first goal, the crowd gets up, makes it difficult for us, doesn't it? But I'm hoping we're going to remain solid and we carry a threat now.
One thing, looking at that, I don't think they've started very well in pretty much most of the games. They've that first 20. I watched the Swindon game, not last weekend, the weekend before, and they started really poorly and slowly. I think that's what's been killing them. and obviously Swindon scored 2. And they're having to swap tactics and change things around early doors. I think it's key to start the game brightly and on the front foot, especially at home.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to get the crowd on side. Yeah. Right, final few games on the Tuesday and Wednesday were Harrogate Town 1, Barrow 0. Goal came from Sean Mikulski, their summer arrival from Maidenhead. Swindon Town 0, Barnet 2 was another slightly surprising result. Emmanuel Osadebe and Dennis Adenarin with the goals for the Bees. Grimsby went to Walsall and won 1-0, courtesy of Evan Curry. I think that's his second goal of the season. And on the Wednesday night, Notts County dismantled a really poor Shrewsbury Town side by 4-1. Salop's goal came courtesy of John Marquis to get them back in it at 2-1. But either side of his strike, there were goals from Matt Dennis, Sonny Al-Yofri, Nick Cerula and Connor Grant that saw the Mags pick up their first 3 points of the season. And that is good timing because we have Gilly Lavis in the group, Notts County fan here. Yeah, welcome to the chat. And yeah, congratulations on them first 3 points last Wednesday. Yeah, they're just starting to pick up, aren't they now? I think I'm still not entirely sold on this new situation in terms of how the club's being run internally. A lot of Notts County fans, similar to Barnet, were quite robust in their replies to me and said, oh yeah, well, you've not watched us pre-season. We look really good. Struggled in the early games, albeit they've picked up now. But I still don't think they're going to be anywhere near the top 7 with Martin Patterson in charge, unfortunately.
No, when you say he's in charge, is he in charge? Is he just a face for what they've got? It's a weird setup. But yeah, obviously I wrote my prediction down, didn't get them out, and I didn't have Notts County, and I'd had them about mid-table, I think it was. I just think it's just weird. Obviously they've lost a few as well. Yeah, they've signed a few, but I think it's just an odd setup. It's going to be interesting to see how they go. And I think they needed that win, certainly, because I think if they lost that, then there's already talk that the manager's got to go, type thing. It's already early doors, but it's just going to be an interesting season. Not just for the neutral, I think for Notts County fans, because I just think it's just a strange setup. I want my manager to manage. I don't want a structure where someone's being told what to do and who to play type thing.
Yeah, it just feels like, and oddly, Gilly has just put more comments and he says, thank you very much, not convinced either. And then he goes on to say he's not a fan of the new system, too many cooks and our recruitment has been awful. Yeah, it just seems like there's too many people having input, too many fingers in the proverbial pie, which is never a good thing. And I said at the time, I think the only reason they appointed Martin Patterson was because no manager with a decent reputation would touch it with a barge pole.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they were linked with some names, and obviously they've all gone and said not a chance. I mean, Patterson's early on in his managerial career. We're at Barnsley as a caretaker at one point. So is this his first proper job? Or he were at Burton, were he?
Burton for a short spell didn't do very well at all.
No.
Apart from that, it's just I think he's been on some coaching staff, but for me it looks a really poor appointment. But then I suppose it's difficult because you're looking at people like Luke Williams, a couple of years ago left the football club, he'd done brilliant for them, and I know Stuart Maynard was sacked, but I wonder if they regret that decision now. I'm not entirely sure, but that's for Notts County fans. Right, some more comments, and then we'll quickly run through top 3 goals from the middle of the week and the player of the week. We've got Matt GFC 9077 says, could Gillingham do 46 unbeaten season, 23 wins at Priestfield and do the unbelievable and draw every single way? I've got one word answer for that, Matt. No.
As you were reading it out, I'm thinking, I want what he's smoking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or a pint of whatever it is. Neil, welcome to the chat. Neil's a Harrogate Town fan and he's in our WhatsApp group. Chesterfield aside, Harrogate have taken points from some of the bigger sides already. I think some teams have underestimated the Sulphurites, but that's changing. I've got them 12th, Neil. I think you've done some really good business. Mikulski looks like a real find at the moment. Goal contributions already. And yeah, I think Harrogate take a few scalps again this season, and I've got a feeling they're not going to be in any real danger, Lee. I don't think they'll be down sort of bottom 4 or 5 like they have been for the last few seasons.
No, and I feel for Harrogate as a not feel for me. It sounds a bit passionate, but I feel like they're an easy target for everyone's predictions to be down there struggling. But every season now, they seem to like prove everyone wrong type thing. And already this season, other than what we're going to touch on at the weekend, they were unbeaten. So it's been a fantastic start. And like I say, I just think they're an easy target for everyone. I'm included, especially last season. I had them to go down. But
yeah, I think it's easy to look at budget and infrastructure and size of the ground and fan base, and like you say, and I think Accrington fans probably accuse us of the same things as well. But
yeah,
you have to put teams somewhere, don't you? There's only 24 spaces, and you have to fill them up.
Yeah, it's difficult, and you always make your predictions with your hard hat on because you're going to upset some fans, aren't you? I think mine was Swindon. Swindon last year in League Two, and then Shrewsbury in League One. Which, sorry, Shrewsbury fans, I did get it right last year.
You got that spot on, to be fair. Didn't you become famous with one?
I think I'm even in their little clip at the start of the season at some point.
Yeah, I think you did, didn't you? Yeah. That come back to bite him on the arse. Nick Clark is in the chat. Welcome, Nick, to the show. Still early doors, but 12-1 on Crew to win the league this season looks a tasty bet. Great to see Gills find a way to win, but Crew looks sharp. Squad depth a limiting factor. Take it each way. Yeah, I think Lee touched on it at the start of the show, Nick. There's plenty of teams that, you know, are going to have a chance, and we think it is an open league. We go back to the point that someone made about Wrexham and Stockport. Like, there isn't teams like that in it, so it is a very, very open division. Another friend of the channel, Stephen Fife from the Fools Rush In Swindon Town podcast. Good evening, everyone. Up to the best division in the world. Absolutely. I do agree with that wholeheartedly. Got any more? Any new comments from new people?
There's 33 watching, so it's unbelievable effort. If everyone can smash that like button, it really helps the live as well.
Listen to that man. Listen to that man. Got Darren says, reminds me of Oldham before we imploded under Abdallah. Can you just give us some context to that one, mate? Sorry if we missed that one. And then Gilly's back, the Notts County fan, and says, this is the time for my mouse to break. Here we go. MK, you guys, and sadly Chesterfield to go up this season. I will take that, mate. But yeah, I've been burnt so many times that not getting ahead of myself. Right, top 3 goals before we do more comments and then move on to Saturday. I went in 3rd place, Lenny Serino's goal for Gillingham versus Chesterfield, just after they pulled it back to 2-1. Long ball downfield from goalkeeper Glenn Morris. Lenny Serino won the first header, didn't stop running, didn't rely on others to then go and chase that. Chested it down, out-muscled Carl McFadden, which don't many people do, especially someone who's about 5'6", and then slapped it home in front of the Rainier to give us a 3-1 lead. Might have been a little bit of rose-tinted glasses on that one, but it was great to see a young lad come into the side on debut and score a goal and play his part in a really good win. In second, I had Callum Agius for Crew versus Fleetwood, teed up by Owen Lunt, sent a superb curling effort over Jay Lynch and into the top corner. But the winner, and I don't want to be horrible when I say that this might be the only thing that Cheltenham win this season, was Josh Martin's strike against Bromley. Stunning half volley into the top right-hand corner after the ball had been cleared to the edge of the box. Unfortunately for Josh and Cheltenham, it meant absolutely nothing, but a brilliant strike nonetheless. And my player of the week was Gillingham captain Armani Little, who scored 2 penalties, played 87 minutes. Both shots that he had were on target from the spot. 70% pass completion, 66% cross completion. He won 67% of his duels in the 90 minutes, completed 1 tackle and 1-2 free kicks. So that is midweek rounded up. And we now move on to the Saturday fixtures. And Lee is in charge of the 2 featured games. Mate, your first one was Harrogate versus Chesterfield, which finished 2-1 to the visitors.
Yeah, so obviously Harrogate coming into this one as unbeaten. Chesterfield obviously losing in a bad style against you boys midweek. So Chesterfield, probably a tough place to go. Obviously, you're wanting to get back to winning ways. Obviously, Harrogate, it's always a tough place to go. It's a compact ground. But obviously, going into the game, Harrogate, as I've said, unbeaten, fantastic start to the season. Chesterfield's first goal was absolutely fantastic. Obviously, takes it well. Sells the defenders not once, not twice, and just slots it home to give Chesterfield a 1-0.
I think their centre halves are still in Harrogate High Street, aren't they?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've seen footage from a vlogger behind the goal, and he captures it really, really well as well. It's an absolute dream finish. Obviously, giving Chesterfield a good lead, and then Harrogate peg them back. I think with Harrogate, you're always going to get where they're always battle, and they're always going to be where you know you're in a game, especially at Harrogate. It's a tough place to go, and he took his goal well. But yeah, Chesterfield dug in and got the winner. Dunkley, great header, and back to winning ways for them, which is what they needed after a tough loss to Gillingham. It's a great response, and great for them to get back to winning ways, because I think it helped that it was so soon after the midweek game. Sometimes when you lose, it's always tough. You have to wait for that next Saturday. But I think with a quick turnaround to get back to winning ways, and yeah, Paul Cook will be absolutely buzzing with that. And I've just said Harrogate. I think if they'd have drew, well, not unbeat, I think they'd have been their best start in so many years. I heard on the EFL show. But yeah, regardless, it's a fantastic start for Harrogate. And I've always said, we've just spoke about it. Harrogate are one of them where I think they're an easy target to struggle, but they always prove a point, and I think they'll be mid-table this season.
Yeah, I think they've started really well, and there's no disrespect losing to Chesterfield. I mean, beating them's not for everyone. I joke, I jest. But yeah, I think it was Ronan Darcy scored the first goal. Like I say, absolutely sent 3 defenders all the way down Harrogate High Street. I think they're still down there trying to get their legs untied. Stephen Duke McKenna, I think that was, scored the equaliser in that game. He's had a really good start to the season. I think he's got 2 or 3 already. He's been a player that I think was highly rated at QPR as a kid, and then has been a little bit nomadic. So yeah, good to see him settle. But like you said, Jay Dunkley, absolutely thundering header in the final 10 minutes to win the game for the Spireites. And looking at the stats and the highlights I watched, it looked like Chesterfield probably did enough to get the 3 points. But like we say, there's no shame in losing to them, because they're going to be up there, aren't they? And Harrogate look like they're going to cause teams problems as well.
Yeah, 100%. And Harrogate always seem to find gems. Obviously, they have a turnover where they sell players, but then they always seem to have turnover where they get these gems, and seems like it is the case again. Because like I say, he started the season really well. He took his goal really well as well. I think Chesterfield, like MK Dons, I think they'll be. If I had to do my prediction, I had them to win the league, if I'm honest.
I did, until MK Dons started spending silly money, and then I had Chesterfield second. But again, I think they're in a similar bracket, not to the extent that MK Dons because of the money, but I think anything lower than top 7 would be classed as a failure for Paul Cook's team.
Yeah, and last season they had a fantastic season. Obviously getting promoted. I think finished in the playoffs. I was just missing out in that semi-final, but for a first season, it's absolute dreamland, and he's recruited what he needs to go on again and at another level. And Paul Cook, he's another manager that knows this level as well. And I think if I were a Chesterfield fan, I know I'd be in safe hands with him, that is for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And he's an absolutely brilliant character as well. He got booked in the game against us and took it in good jest, was getting absolute pelters from the Medway stand and just turned around and laughed and started serenading the crowd. So brilliant character. That the game will be a lot poorer when Paul Cook's no longer in it, for sure. Gary Davis just has pitched in with a comment. Think Tranmere will surprise a few people this season. Seems a lot have got them in the bottom half, but I think a top 7 finish. Omari Patrick continues doing what Omari Patrick's doing at the moment. Yeah, they might be a lot higher than some people have predicted. Matt, the Gills fans back in again. I think when Gillingham win promotion out of the basement, we will win promotion first season back straight into the insane in the membrane league. Next comment is Darren R. Just explaining his comment. Abdullah Lemsigam took Oldham from League One to National League, imported players from French 4th Division, former football agent. Oh, yes, I do remember the owner now. Yes, mate, yeah. Very poor situation. And as we've said before on previous episodes, this sort of situation can't be allowed to keep happening. Like we've seen Morecambe saved at the final knockings recently. Lee's own club in the Championship, Sheffield Wednesday, are going through it as well. It's just not fair on communities and fan bases, and we could probably do a whole podcast on it if we had the time. So yeah, any fans that are going through that type of situation, our thoughts are with you. Stephen Warboys says, guys, as someone who used to love following a Premier League team home and away, it's so refreshing to watch a league with players who wear their heart on their sleeves, are honest, hard-working pros. Absolutely, and that's the reason we do this show. It's the reason Lee covers so much of the lower leagues on his ground hopping channel, and it's the reason I try to give a platform for Gillingham fans to watch that can't get to games, because there's not enough coverage. And Leah agree with me. I think that the coverage you get in mainstream media is very sort of generic in terms of, like, for match ratings, for an instance. The player who makes a mistake gets 5 out of 10. All the rest get 6, and the goal scorer gets 7. It's boring. There's no proper coverage of lower leagues. So it's great to see that a lot of fan-led content, and there's plenty out there, loads and loads of good pages. Right, Lee, your second game of the weekend was Swindon Town 2, Shrewsbury 1. Over to you.
Yeah, this one won me my bet on Saturday, so I'm absolutely buzzing with it, especially how they did it. Obviously, Swindon, it's been a great start for them. Shrewsbury, not so great. Obviously, I think Shrewsbury were in a lot of people's predictions to probably be struggling. I don't know if you had them down there, Matt.
20th, I think, off the top of my head. Keep talking, I'll have a look, and I'll.
Yeah, so obviously Swindon scored a great finish. Obviously leading most of the game 1-0 to then get pegged back in the final moments. That first goal, great team goal, and he took it really, really well. Absolute brilliant finish, and just one touch football to set that goal up. And then obviously Swindon obviously leading, like I said, most of the game to then get pegged back. Not the best finish, but Shrewsbury were absolutely buzzing with it, obviously scoring late on. I think it's a deflected finish in the end. But credit to Swindon. They showed good character to then go on and win it right at the death, 2-1. And add more misery to Shrewsbury's awful start this season. I think Swindon, fairly decent start. You might be able to. Have they lost yet?
Lost opening day to Walsall, didn't they? And played against 10
I
men.
think
the bigger concern for me for Swindon now would be the loss of Harry Smith, who's done his ACL, unfortunately. So best wishes to Harry in that recovery. Regardless of team allegiances and football rivalries, no one wants to see a player get injured, and it'd be a big miss for them, metaphorically and literally, because he's an absolute man mountain, Harry Smith, and he's an absolute nasty bastard to play against. So that'll be a big loss for them. But they seem to adapt really well. Like you say, that first goal was superb. Aaron Dryman finishing it off. But yeah, that's probably goes against the grain in League Two, that type of football. But it was really, really good. And then they found a way, didn't they? But you have to question Shrewsbury's defending. You get yourselves back to 1-1, just be compact. They're just wide open and just let the bloke run for the winner, don't they?
That's it, yeah. And like you say, I think we're 90-something minute they got the equaliser. So I was watching it on my phone, because obviously I was debating cashing out, and I thought, oh, God's sake. And then it flashed up that they scored again. So yeah, it's sloppy. Obviously, when you, especially away from home, just shut up, just get that point. Obviously, you've not got anything to really shout about already this season. Just keep things tight and go on with a point, because away from home at Swindon to get a point in that dying embers of the game would have been a good point on the road, wouldn't it? It'd have been something for them. Yeah, and it'd have been something for them to build on as well. But yeah, it's just sloppy. But credit to Swindon, because they could have just thought, just obviously frustrated to concede, but they showed character to go on and win it. And Ian Holloway would be absolutely buzzing with that.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I say, it's a good fillip for the team to know that straight away they can win without Harry Smith. Obviously, still a week left of the window. Oh, does that mean transfer special next Monday?
Is that when the window's shut?
I think it does. Ooh.
Yeah, because it won't be.
Nice to think about.
Yeah.
Right, so a couple more comments, and then we'll get on to the old proverbial vidi printer for the rest of the results on Saturday. Justin Richon says the way Crew mixed up play on Saturday impressed me. They were switching up direct play with passing and were very quick going forward. I expect them to finish above Chesterfield. That's a bold shout, but yeah, I was impressed with them. I think they'll have a good season. I think they'll have a better season than I thought when the season started. I had them, I think, around about 15th, 16th. I wasn't sure where the goals would come from, but Josh March has proved to be a really good addition. The lad at left wing back Hutchinson scored a couple already. The system suits him. Yeah, they've been impressive so far, and obviously you hope from an Alex point of view that Saturday was just a blip. Darren, Oldham now thankfully in great shape with new owner Frank Rothwell. I know Lee has met Frank as well and can probably vouch for that. Yeah, but Oldham certainly going places now and in a lot better situation than they were a few years ago off the pitch. And like Lee said, that then filters onto the green stuff as well, which is great. So it's just brilliant to see Oldham back in the Football League, isn't it, Lee? You did a lot of coverage of their games towards the back end of the season and the journey that they've been on, and it was covered brilliantly as well. To the point where I now think you're some sort of honorary Oldham Athletic fan.
I think they
yeah,
think
it must be brilliant to see. It must be brilliant to see them thriving, like regardless of the start of the season, like just to have them back in the Football League because they're a Football League club, absolutely.
Yeah, and you have to look at the fixture that they played last week against Swindon. That were a Premier League fixture back in the day. Obviously, we were growing up. Yeah, clubs like that. I think you look at them, and obviously they've been through the tough times, as of a lot of clubs. But to get the happy ending to be back in League Two under an ownership that he can tell he cares, and he's took Oldham into his heart. I don't think he's an Oldham fan. Oldham fans might be able to correct me on that. I'm sure he's not an Oldham fan. He just owns businesses and lives in the area. But he's took the club to heart, and obviously saved them from moments going out of business, as like the recent club Morecambe. So yeah, it's fantastic for them, and yeah, as a season last year that they probably didn't expect a promotion, to be honest.
No, because up until sort of the last month or so, they was well off the pace, weren't they? They just managed to put. They was the perfect example of putting a good run together at exactly the right time.
Yeah, that's it. And I've just said earlier on in the show, I think Mickey Mellon, I think he's that type of manager where he don't get flustered and he sees that end goal as long as you're in the playoffs or in that mix, come what the end of the season, I think he'll be happy. It just doesn't matter how you get there. It's that business end of the season that counts, isn't it?
Absolutely. Right, a couple more comments. Chris Taylor says, sad news for us at Chesterfield today about our owner. Spy writes, till I die. Yeah, so thoughts and best wishes to Phil Kirk's family. He sadly passed away. I think he was only 59 after a short illness year. So thoughts to everyone connected with that football club, and certainly to everyone who loved and knew Phil Kirk. Yeah, no age at all, that one, unfortunately. Let's hope that Chesterfield can have a good season and honour his memory. Darren says Lee is a great advocate for National League and lower league football. Absolutely agree. I'd chuck League One and League Two into that. Oh, you have lower league football. Sorry, mate, I can't read. He also says you can't deny it that you're an Oldham fan.
I think we said earlier about the Premier League. I think since making my content, I think it's opened my eyes up. Obviously, everyone's watched the Premier League at some point, but it's opened my eyes up to just a proper football experience that we all love, going to a ground, talking to fans, and it not being that touristy VAR crap that Premier League are trying to churn out them.
I've seen it already this season, watching a bit of Match of the Day, and you just goal goes in and then you have to stand around for 3 minutes. You can't. It just sucks all the fun out of it, doesn't it? And the emotion. Anyway, this is a non-VAR channel, so let's stop talking about that up there. Tony Hart says best wishes to Harry Smith. Quality player, he'll soon, absolutely, regardless of who he plays for. Right, we better get through these results, Lee, because we are into the final 10 minutes of the show already. That has flown by. Still 32 of you watching. Please keep pressing like. And like we said, please press subscribe on this channel and on Lee's channel. You will not regret it on Lee's channel. It is unbelievable content, and I believe he is back this week. Right, vidi printer time, because we're going to have to whiz through these a little bit. Newport County 1, MK Dons 2. Goal from Habib. Ogdenite for the home side, but it was strikes from Nathaniel Mendez-Lang from the spot and Callum Patterson that won this for the visitors. Walsall's goal was scored by Harrison Burke as they saw Salford City by a goal to nil. Accrington picked up a good point at home to Grimsby Town. Tyler Walton equalising after Jay's Cabia had put them in front. He did miss a penalty at 1-0 as well in that game, Cabia. I think that might be his second penalty miss of the season. Tyler Walton scored the equaliser and then they had a goal disallowed. I think Tyler Walton's their only goal scorer in the league, which has got to be a concern, hasn't it, mate? 5 games in, just 1 goal scorer. You've got to spread it around. And I'm talking as an expert of teams that struggle to score goals.
Yes, it's a massive concern, that is for sure. You can't, I think as a team, you can't just rely on one player anyway. I think you need to have your fair share of goal scorers popping up. But yeah, it would be a massive concern.
Right, then we had Bristol Rovers picked up their first win of the season, beating Neil Harris's Cambridge United by a goal to nil. Ellis Harrison with his first goal back in his second spell there. Cambridge were down to 10 men in injury time when Mamadou Jobe was sent off for 2 yellows. Barnet went to Cheltenham and picked up their second win in the week with a goal from Ollie Hawkins. And then Emmanuel Osadebe was sent off in that. I don't know if you've seen it. It's an absolutely horrific lunge from Osadebe. Straight red card. Absolute leg breaker, season ender, whatever you want to call it. And then he had the nerve to complain. If anyone's not seen it, go and check it out. It's horrible, horrible challenge. I have my own opinions on Osadebe from his time at my club, but we'll just leave that there. Colchester 0, Barrow 2. Danny Cowley's men continue to stutter. Goals from Jack Earing and Lewis Shipley saw the Bluebirds home in that one. Crawley's minor revival in the week after a point against MK Dons came crashing back down to earth as they lost 2-0 at home to Tranmere Rovers, Nathan Smith and that man Omari Patrick. Fleetwood Town, Oldham Athletic finished 1-1. Ched Evans with a goal for Cod Army and Regan Ogle for the visitors. My side, Gillingham, left it till the 89th minute to beat Crewe by a goal to nil, courtesy of Sam Gale's first goal in the EFL. And there was a 2-2 draw between Notts County and Bromley. Goals from Matt Dennis ×2 for the Magpies and Ben Thompson and Idris Oduteo in reply for the Ravens. I think it's fair to say, apart from Gills, Barnet have probably had the best of the last 2 rounds of games, haven't they, mate? There were massive question marks over them over the first 3 games, constant mistakes, giving goals away, hadn't scored a goal, but they've then gone and picked up 6 points on offer from the last 2 games.
Yeah, we've touched on obviously 2 teams coming up. Barnet obviously winning the league last season. I think it's just a case of when you come up, it's just getting that first win in it, and obviously coming midweek, they've obviously found that confidence and backed it up against a struggling outfit. It's one of them where I think they'll go from strength to strength. I think similar to Oldham, I think mid-table. Probably won't be a bad first season. I don't see him pushing for playoffs, if I'm honest.
No, I don't either. And again, it comes back to this comment I made earlier in the show about this high risk, high reward. It looks great when it comes off, but I think if you get caught out, then you're losing the ball in dangerous areas and you're being turned over in your final third, which then leaves you exposed to counter-attacking sides that can pick you off.
Was Hawkins your former player?
Yeah, he's got a couple already. I think, he's prolific by his standards when he was at us. So fair play to him. Good luck to him. And right, a couple more comments. Darren says Mickey Mellon plays the long ball game, totally in control of what he's doing. Totally agree with the second sentence there. He's, like you say, he's been around the block a million times, and I don't think Oldham are in any real danger with him in charge. Is this EFL show all about the championship? Which EFL show's that, Matt? And Steve Warboy says chicken and headless are the words that spring to mind to describe Osadebe. Yeah, that's probably a polite way of putting it, Stevie. But I think he's always had, I'll say, ideas above his station in terms of his own ability. That's always been my opinion on him. Just goes from the sublime to the ridiculous scores in the week and then gets himself banned with an absolutely stupid challenge at the weekend. Lee, have you done top 3 goals for this week?
I have.
Come on then, drum roll.
Let me get them up.
In reverse order.
So reverse order, Patrick, Tranmere, what a volley. As soon as he hit it, you know where it's destined. Fantastic strike. Second, I'm going to try and pronounce it. Is it Drenan, Swindon? We touched on the first goal for Swindon. Obviously, it's different to Patrick's goal. It's team effort, one touch, and I think he takes it really, really well. And then my first one is Darcy of Chesterfield. Sits the defenders down, not once, not twice, and then he slots it home coolly as well. A lot of players would have probably snatched it at that point, but I think how he finishes it is really calm and collected. And yeah, for me, it's the easy winner for me. I don't know whether you agree, mate.
I didn't have it in my top three. I had it in my top three to start with, and then I dropped it out. It's a really good goal, and I think you have to give Lee Bonnis real credit as well, because his hold-up play is brilliant before he gives the ball to Darcy. And like you say, he sends three of them to the corner flag, and then he's got the composure to slot it past the keeper. I went in third place, Aaron Drynan, the team goal for Swindon. I thought that was so good, like half a dozen one-touch passes, and it's a really crisp finish across the keeper. The only anomaly we had, I had Omari Patrick first, like just an outrageous hit, like proper instinctive, headed from the defenders, not great. I think that's the second time I've given him goal of the week already. We know what Omari Patrick does, but stopping him is a completely different thing. I included Matthew Dennis's strike for Notts County, his first one. Got it on the left touch line and then just darted inside a couple, dropped the shoulder and bent one in the far corner. But yeah, it was weird this week. All the sort of, in alphabetical order, all the games that I were watching, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be hard. And then at the end, there was like a deluge of really good goals. So no, mine in reverse order was Drynan in third, Dennis in second, and Omari Patrick first. But yeah, definitely an honourable mention to Ronan Darcy for sending half of the Harrogate team for a hot dog.
Yeah, one of them famous Harrogate pies.
The best, the absolute best. Have you done Player of the Week?
I haven't, but I'm going to give it Darcy just for that finish. I can't not. It's brilliant. I've watched it so many times as well. Like I said,
it's so good, the spin at it when he just watches them go past.
Yeah, and like I said, from the footage that I don't know, forget his name. He vlogged the game, and he's right behind the goal, and he catches it so well. I'll send you it later. It's
I'd like to have a look at it. I like to get these alternative angles that fans have got. Absolutely. So yeah, whiz that over. That'd be great. I went for Matthew Dennis. That was mine for Notts County. He scored both goals in their 2-2 draw, having arrived from Carlisle in the summer, and I think he's hit the ground running. I think he's actually top scorer at the moment. He's got 4 in the league already. Yeah, he played 90 minutes, had 3 shots, 2 of which were on target. Pass completion rate was 89. He played 1 key pass and scored 2 goals. Yeah, and I've written down new top scorer in League 2. So some really good performances individually and collective across a mammoth 23 games that we have just about managed to squeeze in inside an hour. So fair play to us, first and foremost. But of course, the biggest thank you goes to you lot for watching. There's still over 30 of you in there live. We've got some more comments. Darren's back and says Oldham are a striker away from a top 10 finish. Darren, if I was an Oldham fan and there's a week left of the window and all you think you need is a striker to propel you into that sort of range in the table, I'd be fairly encouraged. What would you be, Lee? I think if that's all they're away from being a side that's, in the top half, I don't think that's a bad position to be in. Because we have to bear in mind, Oldham didn't start their pre-season until really late because the playoff final weren't until the 1st of June, was it?
No, I think that's what they need to get to perspective. They are behind, and they have got still injuries and lads to come back in. Obviously, we mentioned Pet, who's a really busy player and gets about. I think he would complement what they have in there. Obviously, Woods and Connellan are 2 footballers, and they like to spray it about. I agree. I think I've said before, I think Fondop would be that guy that I'd bring off the bench if you're looking for a goal, or even if you're leading. I think he's that type of player who thrives off it. I think there were periods that he come off the bench last season until he started scoring, and then he got that nod. I think someone to play alongside Quingley who gets behind defenders and knows where the net is. I think that would really probably suit them better. Obviously, Quigley and Fondop, the 2 guys that are big guys, and they're similar, aren't they? I think that's what I'm reading on the social media of the Oldham fans.
a bit one and the same at the moment, which might make them a little bit sort of one-dimensional. But yeah, like I say, a week to go. If they can get 1 or 2 in attacking areas, then fingers crossed. Yeah, Darren agrees with you, mate. It's like we know what we're talking about. All these people keep agreeing with us. Yeah, Joe Quigley, I think we had on loan years ago as a kid. He was at Bournemouth, and he was a massive lump then. But yeah, you need someone that's going to be able to play on the shoulder and maybe run in behind and play sort of wider areas as well. And if you've got him and Fondop that potentially keep taking up the same space, then it becomes easier to defend against, doesn't it?
I think if they weren't creating chances, I think that's when I'd be worried. But watching, like I said, I watched the Swindon game. First 20 were poor, but then after that, they got into it and created chances. Like I say, if a team won't create chances, I'd be really worried.
Absolutely, yeah. If your strikers are getting in the right areas, eventually one goes in, and then you start flying, don't you? So lots of reasons to still be optimistic. Stevie Warboy says Ainsworth has said he thinks he needs one more, but where do you think that player is needed, Matt? I think this is a real good squad. I think going off of sort of reading between the lines, Stevie, I think it's going to be one sort of versatile, attacking, creative player. We don't need a striker, do we? We've got Sam Vokes coming back. We've got Joe Bode to be reintegrated back at the moment. He's been left out for a couple of games for reasons that Gareth knows. We've got Marcus Wiley. We've got Josh Andrews. We've got Seb Palmer-Holden to come back. We've got Elliot Nevitt. So there's plenty of strikers, even if you're playing two up top. So I think maybe someone that could play across the front, just in behind them central forward players, maybe like I'm not saying him, but we had Aisha Agbenoni, didn't we, from Palace last year, who could play from the side, could play as a 10. It'd be someone like that, I think. But yeah, it's always interesting, and we all love transfer deadline day in the window because it gives us all something to talk about. Gillingham squad is strong, don't need one, says Matt GFC 1977. I'm always of the belief that you can't have too many good players, Matt. But yeah, I'm more than happy. If this is the squad that we run with until January, then I'm not going to be hugely disappointed if we can keep those players fit that didn't play a lot last season, like Bradley Dack, like Ethan Coleman, like Aaron Rowe, like Josh Andrews. There's plenty that would almost be like new signings anyway. Right, quick look at the league table before we blow full time on this episode. We'll go and look at bottom, unfortunately, first, and that is Cheltenham propping up the division with no points so far, and then working up there. From there, it goes Shrewsbury, Crawley, Accrington, and Bristol Rovers. That's up to 20th. Just above them, you've got a couple more teams on 4 points, and then some on 5. Newport, Oldham, Colchester, Notts County, Barnet, Barrow, and Cambridge. And then the top half starts with Fleetwood on 8 points, Harrogate as well, and Tranmere, but they've got a game in hand. Teams on 9 points are Salford, Swindon, Walsall sit inside the playoffs, as do Bromley in 6th. Then you've got Gills in 5th, Grimsby in 4th, and MK Dons in 3rd, all on 11 points. And it's Chesterfield and Crewe that lead the way at this early stage. Both have got 12 points from their opening 5 games, 1 defeat and 4 wins. Lee, it's been a pleasure having you back, mate. It's been really, really good, and I've really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on it. Finally, obviously, you absolutely smashed it for the 3 weeks. Yeah, I've just enjoyed it, and obviously this show I think will just go strength to strength, and it's great to have so many obviously involved in the chat. Because obviously without you guys, we'd just be talking to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And I say that every week, and that's the same for I think both of our channels. Like without people watching them and interacting with them, it's just us talking into a camera on our own, and that's not as fun as it looks when you've got people to talk to as well. So no, we do appreciate it, both of us, from our own perspectives and the support on this. And there's still over 20 in the chat now. We've got into 4 minutes of injury time, so I think that's probably a good point to blow full time on this one. I've been Matt. He's been Lee. This has been the League 2 Hour, and we will see you next Monday at 7 p.m.